you want to get into motorbikes? Then you need to check out these two. These are Yamaha's new 125s. The MT125 on my left and the R125 on my right. You can ride them on a CBT, so that's a single day training course for under 200 quid, and it's the perfect entryway, whether you're 17 or 70, to get into motorcycles and have a damn good time. Yamaha's new 125s. What are they made of? Well, on my left we've got the MT125, which is the kind of sit-up, naked street bike, and on the right, the sort of aspiring racer, the R125. Underneath, they're essentially the same thing. They've got the same 125cc engine, it makes about 15 horsepower. It actually has variable cam timing to try and give it a bit more bottom end power, but still be able to rev out when you're thrashing it. And the suspension is a KYB fork, a pretty basic rear shock. But the chassis, the frame and the swinging arm are a nice Delta Box alloy frame and an alloy swing arm as well. The point for me with these bikes, if I was 17, which I was a long time ago, and getting into motorcycles, you wouldn't need to sell either of these to me. You wouldn't need to convince me that these are good bikes. I'd be so excited by the looks of them, the styling of them, the performance of them. I wouldn't need someone else to tell me that I wanted one.
And then the other people it's aimed at, and maybe this is more the MT125 market, but it's people that have got a car license and just want to do a CBT, and you can ride this then on a CBT. So for under 200 quid you can have your ticket to ride around on a awesome looking 125. You've got a bike that's on the PCP deals 70 quid a month, does 1,000,000 miles per gallon, looks cool. Yeah, that's a win.
And no, it's not a 100 horsepower bike. No, it's not going to do 150 mile an hour, but it's a motorcycle. They look awesome, they're built brilliantly, and you'll learn so much more riding one of these for a year than you would by jumping straight into a 600cc, 750 or 1000cc bike. Now the R125, Yamaha pitch as their kind of step into their super sports range, so it's designed to look like the R3, the R6, the R7, and of course the top end, the R1. Once you're riding it, it's still a 125. It's a 15 horsepower bike, but the chassis is actually legit. We took it out on a go-kart track today, and despite the fact that it was bog standard on street tyres that are not designed for high grip on racetracks, we had an absolute ball. Every single person who was there, from newer riders to seasoned racers, came off that track giggling like children. It was brilliant.
I've gone very quiet, haven't I? To be honest, I've mostly been concentrating on trying to learn this little track. It's awesome, but it's super tight. I think what's cool to register here is this thing is stock standard. It's got a quick shifter from the Yamaha accessory catalogue, and the mirrors and foot pegs, pillion foot pegs taken off. It's even on the original street tyres. It's an absolute hoot.
I have to confess, I did some testing, I did some grown-up stuff and some talking into my camera, and then I got distracted and ended up in a race with a Spanish guy who we just spent the whole time trying to overtake each other, laughing, trying to get a better line, trying to get a wheel past the other one, and it just turned us into complete giggling idiots. Exactly like I was when I was 17 years old. So you don't have to be 17 to ride one. If you ride one, it'll turn you back to 17, whatever your age. Now the MT125 shares that same kind of thrashable, fun-loving spirit that the R125 has. And again, it's built with quality components. We're not talking a cheap mass-produced steel frame, a naff swinging arm. You know, the bike is built with good components and it feels like that on the road. It doesn't feel flimsy, it doesn't feel lashed together. It feels like a very small, very light, proper motorcycle. And that's important, whether you're, like I said before, whether you're a 17-year-old just getting into it, or whether you're in your 30s, in your 40s, and you thought, you know what, I fancy a go on motorbikes. It won't feel like you're playing with a toy. They're a proper bike. They've got ABS, they've got traction control, they've got Bluetooth connectivity, you can connect your phone to the dash. all those things that you expect on a bike that's double the price.
And there's a basic traction control system on the bike as well, which might seem redundant on a 15 horsepower bike, but again, this is aimed at being people's first bike, so why wouldn't your first bike have all of the safety features you could have on it? We could probably all remember what we were like as 17-year-olds. Traction control will go a long way. Sure, when you start to push it a little bit too far, you get a little bit of popping from the tyres, and the soft forks start to play up. But in reality, how many of these are going to spend their days dragging around a go-kart track? That's every 17-year-old's dream, but possibly not the reality. The traction control's cutting in on track, which is kind of fair enough. And only underlines what we found on the road earlier, that there's a legit sporty little bike, and certainly on the road the chassis is more than adequate of giving a properly good time.
And if you check out on Yamaha, they actually do some PCP deals, so you can get these things for like 60 quid a month. People spend more than that on coffee. So cut the coffee out, buy a motorcycle, and get involved in two wheels. It will be the best thing you ever do.
That was a barrel of laughs.